Hey friends, Ryan Wakefield here. It is the week of Christmas, so a great week. I thought I'd have a little fun here, show you some of the behind the scenes stuff that I get to do with Church Marketing University. One of the things we do is we answer questions that come in from our CMU churches. So right now, if you wanted in CMU, you can't even get in. So this is really for exclusive content for CMU churches, but I'm going to share this in a couple places just so you guys can get a feel for some of the stuff we do and maybe jump in on the conversation. So I'm going to jump over here to module number 13. So this is our video module. We have 18 modules, so this is number 13. And so jump down here. Part of what we talk about is video announcements for churches and how to do it. And we had a question come in from Pastor John, and thought I'd share this with you, and then you guys can follow along with some of my answer, see if you want to even add some to it. So Pastor John, hey Ryan, hope all is well. University is kicking our butts, but we're having a blast incorporating all this new info. It's kind of like CrossFit. I don't know, my sister does it, but apparently you love kind of that pain that comes along with progress. So way to go, Pastor John and team. A couple questions regarding video announcements. You mentioned someone in the video segment that created an introduction for your announcements. Do you mind sharing that person, or do you recommend we go elsewhere? We've tried to create an intro and it's just not working. It's sorely lacking. We've been there. We need help. We thought about using Envato Market. Have you ever utilized them? It doesn't really catch our essence either, but it's better than nothing. I'd really appreciate your thoughts on using them. Okay, let's take that part of your question, Pastor John, and then we'll jump down to some of the other parts. So he mentions Envato Market, which in this case, I'm guessing you're probably talking about like Video Hive, which I have used. They have a lot of After Effects files, which if you've got somebody in your church that is skilled in some of these areas, it could be a great resource. You know, typically anywhere from $5 to $50, you can buy a template that you can customize, put your own video clips in, photography in, and you should be good to go. So I love that, but I think you're right. Sometimes it just means like it's not going to really fit your brand. You can change some of the colors, you can put your logo and your materials in, but maybe it's not exactly what you're looking for. But I think that's a good place to start. You know, Envato Market, videohive.net. Again, you're going to need some people that are skilled in this to help get you down the road. And we've done this before. I don't know if we've done this specifically with a video announcement intro, but on some other projects, it's a great resource to just be aware of. Now, let me just say this, because there's some of the other churches watching. You might be like, well, we just don't have any expertise at all. What would you recommend? One thought is maybe just sign up for Animoto for a month and then take some photography, pick a template, or you can even upload video clips and use Animoto, because it will kind of create a video that resembles like you were really good at After Effects. But all you'll have to do is upload, you can edit a little bit, and then download that video and use that as your intro. So that could be a hack that I recommend to a lot of churches for a lot of different things. Social media content. I like it for if we're cutting together a story and we got to turn it around real quick for the church. Use it for your B-roll, because it makes it look like you went in and you spent all this time animating photos or animating video that you shot. Or if you have a friend that's getting married, you can use it for a wedding slideshow, and it makes you look like you're just a brilliant video editor in After Effects and you spent all this time, but really you used Animoto. So that's a good one, animoto.com. You can see that up here, and you can go look at their templates, even if you just sign up for a month and use it for that, and then go from there. So that could be another little hack maybe to look into for certain projects. Probably, I'm guessing, Pastor John, for you, it's not exactly what you're looking for. Again, same downsides as using something like Video Hive. Now, here's another recommendation. Prasad Creative, Michael Prasad and Tim Flick are both a part of Church Marketing University. Michael is our guest presenter in the branding module, and so they run Prasad Creative. So Tim does most, if not all, the announcements right now for Summit Park Church. And so they are very familiar. They do announcements for other churches, but you might look into Prasad Creative. I highly recommend them. This is a great place to consider investing a little bit of money, because if you can outsource a project like this and say, hey, once a year, we're going to hire a company to create us a new intro for our video announcements, that's money well spent, because you're going to use that 50 plus times a year. So you might reach out to whether it's Prasad or somebody like them to get you going on an intro. Now, here's a couple things to keep in mind when you do that. When you outsource, whether it's with Prasad or somebody else, you might just say, hey, here's our budget. Here's what we're looking to accomplish. What would you recommend? Now, based on your budget, they might be able to be like, well, we could do highly customized, start from scratch. Obviously, if you're down the road with your branding and colors and brand guide, style guide, and your logos and B-roll and photography, that'll help. But maybe you're not there. So they can work with you, but knowing your budget, knowing what you're wanting to accomplish up front, that's when they can get creative and say, well, maybe they're going to go and start with, maybe you don't have a whole lot of budget to put towards this. So maybe you guys agree on a template that's a starting point from Envato or somewhere else, and then they customize it just enough to meet your budget and to match your brand. Somebody like a Prasad probably could pull that off. So that's a thought. In going with them with that type of information up front is going to help you get where you want to go and help them understand kind of your parameters and your budget and what you have to work with. So again, there's a lot of other companies out there. If Prasad is just maxed and can't get to it, let me know. I'm sure they can refer you to somebody else, or I've got some other people as well. But they would be a starting point, especially since they're already connected to CMU and CMU churches. They'd understand what you're trying to accomplish, and they do great work. Let me also point out another resource in this topic, and that's right now you have access to the Foundations Conference. And Brady does a video announcement topic in that conference. So since you're dealing with this world, I think I'd highly recommend, I think you'll love, let me combine those two together there, this episode right here. So be sure that you check that out, because I think it's going to really help your team. He talks a lot about how to make them effective, tips for people who are presenting either live or on video. So he does a great job. So check out that episode while you have access to that inside of Church Marketing University. If you click on your dashboard and go down to the bottom, it's going to be down at the bottom here. So there you go. So let's jump back over to your question here, and hopefully that helps get you down the road with that intro. And then let me see here. You said also, when you shoot a video, do you schedule a day for that? Or these scenes we see from actual service times? We've tried to film on Sundays and the lighting is wrong, or the people expressions are not authentic because they know they're on camera. We've had a difficult time for that. I like your thoughts on that too. Okay, so great. Those are problems, I think, the common to all churches, Pastor John. Most of the stuff that you saw on the example video in that episode are shots from a real Sunday morning. Very seldomly, we will stage stuff. We have done that, especially if we're doing a photo shoot, and then we have somebody shooting B-roll, and then where it's kind of more staged. But most of the B-roll that I've been working with, and if you're just coming into this and you're thinking, what's B-roll? It's the imagery, the video that you're using that's not somebody talking like this, but imagery over the top of that would be considered what they would call B-roll. So that's the term that I'm using there. So if the B-roll that you're seeing on those examples are shot on a Sunday morning. So a couple things on how to get that where it's authentic. I would say the same tips we talk about in the photography module will work on video as well. Sometimes it's just the person behind the camera just having the eye for how to get a certain shot. Sometimes it's using a lens where you can zoom in a little bit more so people don't know you're necessarily shooting them, and so they don't have that weird expression on their face. Another tip that I love is to put somebody that is hosting the person shooting the video that everybody in your church knows and loves. So like for us at Summit Park Church, this might be like a Ross or a Chris. When Ross or Chris walk in a room, everybody lights up, high fives, hugs, fist bumps, and great conversation. So you take Ross, for instance, put them next to your video editor. So now, and maybe make sure they both are wearing lanyards. Now people in your church realize, okay, that guy is with Ross. It's not some sort of creep. Ross maybe can explain. And then quickly you're going to start getting these natural shots of life and energy because you've got that sanguine personality, the party, life of the party in the room who's normalizing your video and then quickly taking people's mind off of it and getting those reactions that you're going to want. So putting a host with a shooter can make all the difference in the world. So that's what I'd maybe recommend. And then if you're still having trouble, then I think it's maybe on the leadership to start explaining, hey guys, this is what we're doing. So a lot of times when I've been brought into a church or a team that's saying, hey, we're shooting for a special Sunday, the pastor will say that from the pulpit. Hey, Ryan's here, or Tim's here, or Michael's here. If they're shooting, be sure you give them a high five, you smile. Don't worry about them. You guys are going to love it. And so from the stage, or maybe in an email out in advance, they kind of norm the idea that, hey, there's somebody, walking around with the camera. If the person shows up unannounced, they don't have a host, they don't have a lanyard, that nobody's ever seen them before, maybe from their outside or they're a freelancer, and so people are like, weird, what's going on? Why is that person, up in my face? Those would be some tips to get that authentic feel that I think you're looking for, where people are smiling, laughing, having a good time. Those are some tips. Now, your next questions here, you said the lighting is wrong. Let me give you this kind of ease you here, is that church lighting everywhere, that any church I've been a part of, for the most part, lighting is just a huge issue. It's just normally really terrible, and there's no real easy way around that. So a couple thoughts on this. If you're going to have a Sunday where you're shooting, consider bringing up as much light as you possibly can. This may be another part of your process where you're making this announcement. Things are going to be a little bit different today. We're going to have the lights up, but having the lights up, bright house lights up, it may be a little bit weird. Maybe you do it just for the first song. If you do like more of an upbeat song, having those lights up is going to help that camera tremendously. Now, having the right lens on the camera is going to help as well. So if you got a lens that can open up really wide, that can let a lot of light in, something like a 1.8. Now you're going to have to talk with somebody who either knows photography or video to kind of, okay, what does he mean? He's talking about a lens that can shoot really good in low light. They'll help translate that for you. But having the right lens can make all the difference in the world when you're shooting in low light situations. That can be a big deal. Now, also having the right camera. That's why I like the camera like the Sony A7S, or they even have the 2 out now, because it can shoot in practically pitch dark. It's really kind of magical what it does. So maybe you're looking at, this could be another thing where you consider bringing in somebody once a year if you have a little bit of budget to shoot a round of great photography and to shoot you some B-roll, and you say, hey, and you pick somebody that has a camera that's great for low light. They know how to shoot in low light. They have the lenses and the camera gear, and maybe they help do something like that, especially if you just don't have all sorts of crazy amount of lighting going on in your situation. So that's a really tricky one to get around, and there's maybe not a really easy answer for that. I can think of some more, maybe follow up with you a little bit later, but those would be the main ones. Bringing up the house lights, maybe shooting in the foyer that's got some more natural lighting, getting the right gear, even if you had to rent a lens or a camera setup, or investing a little bit of money to bring somebody in to do that knows what they're doing and even can show you examples. Hey, here's another 5 churches we've shot and the kind of the footage that we got from there. So hopefully that helps get you down the road on that, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That can be really difficult for churches. So again, having a great time working through these issues. When you initially said it takes about a year to year and a half to implement these things, I thought you were kidding. You're not. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, you're right, Pastor John. And basically what Pastor John's talking about is we have 18 modules inside Church Marketing University. Each module has, anywhere from 4 to like 16 different episodes in the modules. And we talk about this is going to help build your system, your marketing system for churches. So it does take a long time to build, but you can start making progress on that. And Pastor John, if you're already down in module 13, you guys are making quite a bit of progress. So keep up the good work. As you're noticing, I think it will help your church and make a big difference for you. Continue to put the questions that you have down in there. I love hearing your type of feedback, the obstacles churches are facing, and hopefully these type of videos can help you guys get unstuck. Let me just also say, if you're watching this and you don't have access to CMU, you still can head over to churchmarketinguniversity.com. If you put your name and email and start the assessment, you'll get an email with a couple freebies from us, a church marketing strength assessment. I'll show you where you're strong and where you're weak at, maybe in a church, and some things you can do about it. We'll also give you a free SEO, search engine optimization tool, where you can see how visible your church is online. So if you head over to churchmarketinguniversity.com, you can start that by filling out that first name and email in the homepage there. And then also we have some modules that even if you don't get free access or full access to, you can check out a free preview where, and I might have to see some of those may have changed since the last couple of weeks, but I'll get those open back up for you guys for the next couple of weeks, where you should be able to click on the ones that have the free preview and it take you to a free preview section. So by the time this video goes live, that little deal will be fixed, so you guys can jump in there and get a free preview of those modules as well. Okay, that's the photography one is working right now, so check out that, and then I'll get the other two fixed here shortly. But hopefully that's been helpful. Pastor John, thanks so much for sharing that question with us. If I didn't answer it, let me know again, the way, or if you have some more follow-up questions, let me know. And if you're watching this maybe on Social Church and you have some thoughts for Pastor John as well that are helpful, put those in the comments below. But I thought I'd have a little bit of fun and show you some behind the scenes of what was going on inside Church Marketing University. We can't get in right now, but coming up in a couple months, we open it about 2 to 3 times a year where you can jump on board and start going through the content. So that's it. Hopefully you guys have a great week, and Merry Christmas.